Hi, I'm Beth Wood.
And I'm David Wood.
Welcome to WoodTalk.
We've lived in 2 different countries, 5 states, 11 homes, over 13 years. We've got 9 kids, 5 of them are in heaven.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Welcome to our story. That's a great idea.
I have those sometimes.
You do. Hey guys,
Hi.
Welcome. Hey, first of all, thank you so much for watching it. Like, we had a great response to
Seriously, so much more than we thought we would.
Yeah. So for those of you guys that watched, enjoyed, shared, commented, we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It means a lot. We know that your time is valuable, and we just are grateful you guys want to listen to us ramble for a bit.
This one will be a little bit shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So we won't ramble quite as much.
Yeah. It's questionable. Here's what we thought. We last episode we went through our our dating story, our first date story, how we met. In our intro, you guys heard our whole story of where we've been, all the places we've lived, kind of just the life that we've lived. How about today we give you guys like a 40,000-foot view of the journey that God has brought us through. And then after that, as the weeks go on, we'll just kind of dive in and take like closer looks at the different stories that we've gone through. Deep dives into our lives.
Cool.
So,
I'm excited.
When did we get married? What year? 2007. 2007. Yep. That's right.
Because it was 13 years ago.
It was 13 years ago. That's right. Lucky number 13. So, 13 years.
It'll be fun.
So we got married in Laguna Beach.
That was a really good time.
That was a good time, wasn't it? Get warm in here? Is it just me?
I'm drinking the iced coffee, so I'm gonna cool you down.
That's fair. So we got married in Laguna Beach. It was awesome. Quiet wedding, just my family and your family.
It was so nice.
It was really great.
We went down to Shaw's Cove and just popped a little tent up on the sand. And my mom made my wedding dress. And I got ready in the tent. And then David and his dad is the one that married us. Hi, Ron. Went down to the shore and I climbed the stairs with my dad. Did I climb up there with my dad? Was it? No, he was at the foot of the stairs. You don't remember.
I definitely remember this moment, but I just want to see if you do.
I went up the stairs.
Yep.
And then...
I don't remember it at all. My back was turned.
Yeah, we made him turn around because he wasn't supposed to see me in my dress yet.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
I came down the stairs and...
You were beautiful.
We got married barefoot on the beach. Barefoot. It's kind of
how we roll.
Shoes are overrated. Anyway, I wouldn't change it for anything in the whole world.
No. So I was working at a daycare at the time.
Yeah.
And was working at a daycare. We were living in Yucaipa, California. And shortly after... and we're going to gloss over some pretty intense things.
But we will revisit them.
Yeah. So, as we go, I'm going to just say these things, and we'll talk a bit about, the impact it had. But, there's a lot more that goes along with it than what we're about to say. So, while we were working there...
I wasn't working there.
While I was working there, Beth and I, we lost our first baby.
Pretty shortly after we got married.
Pretty shortly after. We got married in March, and we lost our first baby on July 4th of July.
Yeah.
So that was rough. That kind of started for us a good several years of questioning, of seeking just answers. And I don't even know if it was seeking answers, but more just I'm done with this whole relationship with God thing for a bit. So
I think more so for you than for me at that time.
Yeah.
We kind of flip-flopped later in life.
Yeah. We were in different places spiritually. Yeah. And we would dive into that another time. Yeah. It really shook me the first time because it just was totally out of left field. So we lost our first baby, and I had already quit my job at the daycare, but I hadn't started working at my new job yet.
Yeah.
I was going to go work at a garage door company and work in the warehouse.
Because it made more money. We were going to have a kid.
We're going to have a kid. I got to support my family. I'm a man, you know? So,
Yeah.
and I know that I'm built like I would work well in a warehouse.
He has tender baby hands. It's fine.
I can't believe you said that.
They're magical. Because you're a magician.
Yeah.
With cards.
So I am not built for that. I'm much better with people just talking like this, and it didn't go well. I didn't enjoy it. I was out of my element. I got into magic on our honeymoon. I mean, if
we can't stay away from it today.
No, we can't. But that's kind of the truth. Like,
it is. Absolutely the truth.
Yeah, it is. Like I got into magic.
They don't want to know about that.
To a mall. I went to a mall, and bought a book, the Big Book of Magic Fun, circa 2006. It was a purple. It had a purple cover. I still remember it.
A guy with gloves on doing a magic trick on the cover. I remember that too.
Yep. And that's what started that whole thing. And I was doing magic, and then. Someone at the garage door company, one of the salesmen, his name was Ken Jones, a good family friend of ours, and he was one of the first people, besides you, obviously, and besides Danny, who trained me. He was one of the first people that really believed in me.
I remember that.
With magic, and he brought me out to do some things with the company. It was a cool thing. That was pretty great. But it didn't work very long. I actually, Beth, you got a job at a vending machine company, and you were stocking.
Not good at it. I was not good at it.
You didn't like it?
No.
Why not?
Did you?
No.
It was exhausting.
It was exhausting.
So
it was good. It was good, honest work.
Yeah, no,
but
it's
just not what we were designed for.
It did. It served its purpose.
It did.
For that time in our lives. It was hard.
Yeah.
It was early morning. Like, we had to be in Ontario at 4:30 in the morning. Do you remember that?
I do.
We are not morning people.
Yeah, no. You jumped the gun a bit because while Beth was working there, I was working at the vending machine, or I was working at the garage door company. But then I was like, well, shoot, I don't have to work at the garage door company because Beth is working. So I quit and I just played video games all day for about 2 months.
That was something.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a contributing factor to some stress in our marriage. And a bit. I'm better now.
A bit. Much better.
Much better.
Yes.
It's true.
Just totally kidding.
Yeah. It was funny.
I quit and you worked there. We traded.
Yep.
Places.
We traded places.
It's like, wait, why are you...
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? I'm not good at this.
I was just sitting on my butt.
You're the man.
So I joined her for the first little bit. Every once in a while I would come along with her, and just because I like her. But then eventually I took her job. The company was good with it, and Beth went back home. And but it was a lot. I was not doing what I was supposed to be doing. When I was 17, we'll back up just a bit. When I was 17, God called me to ministry, to do ministry, and specifically with youth. And I was holding on to that promise of someday I'm going to do that. And through the daycare, which was with kids, and I don't like kids. I like mine, and I like. Just move on.
You like certain kids.
With the kids, and then the garage door company, the vending machine company, all of those things were just
Well, we were volunteering at the time too.
Volunteering at the time with my dad's church at the Well, and that was
their youth group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was fun.
Did we volunteer there after we lost Naomi?
I don't remember. The timeline's all kind of...
I think
That might have been why
I think we were dating.
Okay.
I think we were dating when we were volunteering with the youth at the well. Didn't volunteer much after that, especially after we lost the baby. Anyways, lost a job. The economy crashed 2007. Right. 2008. The economy crashed. I lost my job at the vending machine company. And we had always said that there's no way we're going to be military family.
Even before we were together,
yeah.
I remember saying, like, I will not be a military wife.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the life for me. I'm not cut out for that. I will never be a military wife. Don't ever say never.
Yeah. We got laughed and laughed.
Yeah, for real, because
yeah,
I was a military wife.
Yep. But it took a while. So we lost my job in February of 2008. Yeah. And we, through our tax return, through our credit cards, we had enough money to survive until July 1st. Scrape by. So I looked for a job all of January. I couldn't find any jobs. I kept looking. And then probably in March, we kind of came open to the idea of maybe doing missions, maybe doing the military. Mm-hmm. And then probably in May, we were pretty committed to the military. So I reached out and committed with them and talked with them. But they were telling me in May that it was going to take over like 7 or 8 months for me to join to actually
have
get
a spot in. At basic training. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're like, okay, so we're still good with it because it was going to provide, it was going to, for college and all of those things. It was a wise choice for us. And
it was going to be an adventure.
It would have been an adventure. It was.
Yeah.
It always is with us.
And then some guy ended up dropping out, mm-hmm. and they called you on like a Friday or a Thursday, mm-hmm. and said, can you leave for basic training on Monday, right? Yeah. It would have been July 1st.
Yeah, it would have been July 1st. So they called me like...
we were thinking we had like 8 or 9 months, and then all of a sudden...
And we still had no job. Yeah. We were still running out of money on July 1st.
Yeah.
And the Air Force called.
Yeah, and said, can you leave like tomorrow?
Yeah.
It was like... Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah.
I remember driving down to LA. Didn't you? You flew out of LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because you had to swear in and everything down at MEPS.
MEPS, yep.
That was.
It's pretty crazy.
I think other than losing Naomi, that was our first baby. I think that was the hardest thing, at that point. But it's funny because with how hard that was, like everything else that we've been through since then, I look back on that and I'm like, that was nothing.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I was waiting for you. I'm sure for you, it was a lot harder.
Basic training?
Yeah. Like when you look back on it, I'm sure it's like right up there with some of the other things that we've done that are really hard. It was hard because you were gone. But it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, I was, like, swimming all day and working on my tan and...
That's a good thought. I don't know. I remember, like, during basic training being like, this is just the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And then, since then, like, we've lived a whole lot more life than that. Like, I feel like I feel like it's... Maybe I have just lost perspective because it's been so long.
You've locked out of your memory. It was traumatizing.
Yeah. Yeah. So we go through, I go through basic training and graduate in August, and they send me to Texas for school and for my job school.
Which was? What'd you do?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. What did I do? My job was aircrew flight equipment. So I packed parachutes, worked on oxygen masks.
Night vision goggles.
Helmets, yeah. Anything that pilots wore or anything that kept pilots alive if they crashed.
All of their emergency gear.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool.
I made that stuff work. It was fun. It was really like detailed and tedious work, but like the way that my brain is wired, if I can focus in on just real little details, I can dig that. I could totally get into it.
You were good at your job.
I enjoyed it a lot.
It was better than stocking vending machines.
It was better than stocking vending machines.
A bit.
A lot.
So then they stationed us in
Hawaii. Did I jump the cue there today?
No, you're fine.
Okay. You did like a drum roll thing. I wasn't sure if that was.
I don't know what that was. It wasn't even a good drum roll.
Yeah.
Should have done that.
So we lived in Hawaii, and
that was a bummer.
Yeah, no. Those of you guys who know us, like, our personalities are the perfect fit. Like, Hawaii and us are just like, this is who we are. This is.
Well, it was nuts to me too. Like when we moved there, so many military people that were already there were like, just wait, you'll get tired of it.
Yeah.
Like you'll get. What do they call it?
Island fever. Yeah.
Island fever. You're just like stuck on the island and you just want to go anywhere, but you can't because you're on the island. And I never experienced that. 3 years there, and I was like,
no,
give me 50 more.
Yeah. Yep.
It was fantastic.
We said when we got out of the Air Force that we wouldn't ever move away again unless it was back to Hawaii.
From Southern California. From our family.
From our family in Yucaipa. That turned out to not be true.
It was another one of those nevers.
Yeah.
Just like we're never going to live in another 2-story house. Every house that we've lived in.
Every house that we've lived in.
Every one of them.
We have... And
every one of them.
And it's like we just forget.
The one in Forest Falls had 3 stories.
And we lived on the bottom one.
There's nothing important in the 3rd story. Just don't go up there.
No.
Too many stairs.
Too many. Way too many.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Just another one of those nevers. When we're never going to. Yeah. But did we ever say, like, God, are we going to?
No.
No?
No.
Because he definitely had different plans. Okay. So anyway.
So in the Air Force, Hawaii
that was amazing.
Yeah.
We had 3 more miscarriages living in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And
inside the first 6 months of living there.
We had 3 miscarriages?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah, we had December.
Yeah.
Where we lost Anella.
Yeah.
And then February we lost Jalen.
Yeah.
And then July or June.
Oh my gosh, that was all in the same. Wow. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize it was that.
Yeah, it was in 6 months.
So we had given up. And we'll go into this like a lot more into detail. But then we had Lila.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. She was born in Hawaii. She's our little island girl. Our little pineapple baby.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like 18 months old when we got orders to
North Carolina.
Okay, wait. Oh no, I can't do that.
You can't do that. Look at that. It just a little taps and it peaked.
That is. I don't know. It's a laptop with stuff on it.
when that. See?
Oh yeah, it was loud.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Be sorry to them.
Sorry, guys. Okay, so then, the reason that we decided not to try to stay in Hawaii longer is because we thought we were going to have a chance to be stationed in California. Yeah.
Again, I don't think this was like a God thing. I would think it was just us. We're like, let's try to get closer to California. I put all on, in the Air Force, you can have a dream sheet where you put your top 8 base preferences.
That's why they call it a dream sheet.
And
like yeah, okay.
And if you're lucky, like there's an opening with your job on your dream sheet, and they'll try to fill that with you. Apparently, that was not the case for us because they sent us to the other side of the country, and we lived in North Carolina for about a year.
Which is, we had friends that wanted East Coast, and we wanted West Coast, and they got stationed on the West Coast in Washington.
Yep.
Jessica and Cody, and then we got stationed on the East Coast, and we're like, can we just trade? Although you guys didn't have the same job, so it wouldn't work. But it was just kind of like they put all East Coast jobs and we put all West Coast, and it just flopped. And we're like,
come on.
So North Carolina,
and that was hard.
That was really hard.
That was hard.
It was another one of those decisions. We bought a house.
Yeah.
Where we're just like, we can buy a house. Let's buy a house.
Yeah.
There's so many, because we were still in that time, I think, where we were Christians, and we definitely would say that like we followed the Lord and all that things, and I don't think there was anything that we were like blatantly doing that was sinful, but we weren't seeking after Him and saying like, God, what do you want us to do? What is your plan for our lives? We were just like, let's try to get on the West Coast. Let's buy a house. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's have another kid. Let's try this.
He wasn't our Lord.
Yeah.
Right. Like he wasn't our God.
Yeah.
He was just a small part of our lives. Like there because we grew up in the church and like And we know that he's there to help us or
Yeah.
to be there for us, but we didn't submit to him.
Yeah. It wasn't like a seeking after his heart. It was seeking after our own hearts.
And then
That doesn't end well.
No.
No.
And it didn't.
It didn't.
It didn't.
But you know what's really cool, though, is God still, like, through all of that, his plan is coming to fruition and he still uses all of our mistakes and our bad decisions and turns it to good and uses it for his glory every time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It is.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing how he does that.
So
even when we're like in rebellion to him, he still was gracious to us.
even when we're like actively, I mean, I think you more than me at the time, and I'm not trying to point fingers at you because I've been there too.
Oh, I was actively in rebellion against the Lord. But
yeah, being like,
I was
you suck, God, I'm not going to talk to you.
I think by that time, no, I was still there. Just not going to talk to him.
Yeah.
And
Hannah was born.
Hannah was born there.
So I was pregnant with Hannah in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I was like halfway done.
Yeah.
6 months pregnant or so when we moved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then we had Hannah there pretty early, but we bought this house without seeing it first.
Yeah.
Which is dumb. Kids, don't do that.
Don't ever do that.
And
the pictures looked great.
They did. The house
it was
looked
a nice
great.
house.
It was a great house.
But we didn't visit the area.
We didn't visit, and the area was nice. The problem was our realtor told us that it was like half hour away, maybe a little less than a half hour away from the military base.
Working.
But it was 45 minutes away. At least
on a good day.
Without
going
traffic.
Fast.
Yeah. So we lived super far away and
totally isolated.
Totally isolated. We didn't know anybody. We tried to get connected in a church, but I wasn't like super ready to just dive in and be a part of that again.
Yeah.
But this whole time, like I still knew that God had a call on my life. I still knew that it was going to be something, and that God had.
Because even in Hawaii, you were working with Awana,
something,
right?
Yeah.
You were volunteering at our little chapel on base.
So like we were doing the thing, like we weren't not Christians.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. It wasn't anything like blatant, like
yeah,
like oh, we're gonna just live sinful lives and blah. It was just more of a heart thing.
Yeah,
like I think.
Well, it was the heart thing, and because of that, we were just missing out on the abundant life that Jesus is offering us.
Yeah.
Like we could have had so much more.
And it was like in the moment we had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back on it is where I can see it so clearly, like the difference.
The life that we have now, the abundant, like we have a full life. We have a good life. Like we could have had it then. And I just, my head was too far in the sand to get it out. I couldn't see it. So, yeah. So this whole time I feel this call, this push into ministry, and it's like, God, every step I'm doing what
let me know when you're ready.
I'm going to the military. I'm doing these things. Like I do feel like we prayed through the military choice, and I do feel like, I said that he wasn't our Lord, but I feel like for the big changes in our life.
I remember praying about the Air Force thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
we did seek really hard for the Lord in those, and even the re-enlisting, but not the house. I think for the big things.
Yeah.
I think for the big things we relied on him, but then with the little things we're like, this is insignificant.
Right.
We're gonna be here for the next however many years in North Carolina, so let's just buy a house.
Just buy a house because we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, because real estate is incredible.
Yeah.
In North Carolina.
Yeah. And it turns out we were only there for 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
We were there for 10 months, and then we moved back to Southern California so I can go back to school.
And if we hadn't bought a house, that's a whole nother story.
Oh,
it was a mess.
Yeah.
It was a mess. Because we couldn't sell it, and anyways, I don't want to get into that right now. I'm going to talk about that. It's going to make me mad. We moved back to where our family is.
Yeah.
And
so I go to school to get a degree in psychology because I'm fascinated with people. And even if I was to go back to ministry, a psychology degree would be good. Mm-hmm. I finish my degree, I get my bachelor's in psychology, and then it's time to start a master's degree program.
But during that, I got pregnant with Evelyn.
Oh yeah, and I graduated with my bachelor's and you got pregnant a little bit after that, because I was in my master's program when you were like giving birth.
Mm-hmm. That was stressful.
That was hard. That was real hard. So I go to this master's program in forensic psychology, and I study about all of the crazy killers of the world.
I didn't like that.
It was intense.
It got to the point where he would come home and try to like talk to me about what he learned that day, and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. I can't listen to that.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's too heavy.
Yeah.
Too much darkness.
I see a lot in people. I'm pretty perceptive when it comes to like expressions, and
you're really good at it.
And I eventually, when I was taking that class, I would read into everything, and I would see the worst in people.
I still remember sitting at Spunky Steer. R.I.P.
Yes.
Daddy, can I come down now?
That's fine. You're welcome, honey. I love you.
Love you too.
Mommy and Daddy are doing a podcast, so. But
It's a pretty dress.
You gotta be nice.
It's a business dress.
Yeah.
So pretty.
Can you play nice with your sisters?
I like the flower that's on it.
It's very
Can
pretty.
I give her my phone and play puzzles on my phone?
Sure.
Here you go, baby. You go back out and shut the door, okay? If I get in text and all that stuff, I don't need to know. You don't need to come tell me. Okay? I still remember we went to dinner during that time, and we went to Spunky Steer. Rip.
Oh. It's the best steak in the world.
No, I want steak.
And they're... Oh.
Last time we wanted a burrito. No, I want steak. Why does this podcast make me hungry? Anyway, I just have this memory of like sitting there eating dinner with you, and like you were analyzing like everybody else in the restaurant. I was like, you stop it. Stop that. Just eat dinner with me. Don't worry about all the other serial killers and whatever sitting around us. Just eat your steak.
I couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
So and this is what did it for me. Like I didn't like it. I was kind of wanting to pull out.
Yeah.
And then I heard that my home camp, Forest Home.
Well, at this time we had moved from Yucaipa to Forest Falls.
Yep.
For those of you who are not familiar with that area, Forest Falls is only about 15 minutes above Yucaipa, but it goes high up real fast, and so it's up in the mountains.
Yeah.
It's in a valley mountain, kind of.
Yeah.
So anyways, we just had the brilliant idea to move up into the mountains, because
yeah,
why not?
Why not?
It was going to be an adventure.
It sure was.
While I was like 12
very
weeks
pregnant.
I was like 12.
Okay.
3 months?
Yeah.
4 months pregnant with Evie?
We lived there while you were very pregnant.
Yes. Because I had her while I was
Yeah.
while I lived there.
Yeah. When we brought her home, it was December. We bring her home.
It was like a literal nightmare.
It was late at night.
Brand new baby.
Brand new baby. We get home.
There was snow everywhere.
We get home. We walk into our house, and it was ice cold.
It was like 37 degrees in our house, I think, maybe.
Yeah. So I go and I look at our propane tank, and it was empty. We had no heat in the house. We had a brand new baby.
She was crying because she was hungry.
Yep.
And we had Lila and Hannah with us at the time, who were, little.
Yep.
Little.
Yep. So we had to drive back down the mountain. We stayed at my parents' house for a couple of days while we got that propane filled back up.
That makes my chest tight.
That was rough. Yep.
That was so stressful.
So this camp in Southern California,
which was like 5 minutes from where we lived at the time, so it was like perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
It would have been so good.
To us.
It was
perfect.
It was. And I do think that this was the Lord's prompting, because this is the first step for us to get back into ministry.
Totally.
And it had been Evelyn, trying to think of how long ago that was. It was probably...
She's 5.
She's
5 and a half.
She's 5. So 2015 now. So that means it had been probably 11 years since God's call on my life to be in ministry. 10 years since his call on my life to be in ministry. Wow. And
I think at that point you were really kind of just like...
I was just like, whatever. So I did this forensic psychology thing because it was going to make a lot of money.
Well, you were still in the Air Force Reserve.
But then this job came up, and I just jumped on it. It was the director for their junior high camp. Yeah. And I got really far into the interview process, a month into the interview process. And I didn't get the job. and I was devastated. I was crushed. But what that did in my heart was it whet my appetite back for ministry. Mm-hmm. Like, I got so pumped and so excited for what, like, I dreamt again. And
I think at that point, like, God had healed a lot in you.
Yeah.
Like, you guys had done a lot of work together in progressing?
Sure. That's a good word.
That's a word.
Progressing our relationship. Yeah. Yeah. And we'll talk more in depth about that
moment.
There's some good moments in there, yeah. So that was really, really good. And it wasn't good that I didn't get the job, but it did draw that out. So then like right away I quit the master's program and I started looking for ministry jobs.
Yeah.
But apparently no one wants to hire a 29-year-old with no experience with 3 kids and a wife to a full-time position.
Why though?
Not? Gosh.
I would hire you.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So some doors opened up for us to move to Belize. And we lived in Belize.
As missionaries.
That
was the adventure of a lifetime.
Multiple lifetimes. It changed everything.
Everything.
Every bit of who we are is different because of our trip to Belize. And it was just 3 months.
I think our kids were changed, even though they were so young.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
Well, by proxy of us.
Well, and them, that too. But I think even them just being there.
Yeah. Being saturated with the Holy Spirit in the way that they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I miss it.
We will have many, many stories of Belize.
Some really, really good ones.
Yeah.
I don't need that. I don't. Do whatever you want. Okay.
We love our children.
So much.
So much.
Lila stopped whistling.
That's good.
She's going to hear us, and then she's going to remember that she likes doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, anyway.
People are listening.
Oh, whoops.
But those stories for Belize are probably for another time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So... So we left for Belize in September of 2015, and we came back.
Evie was like 8 months old at the time. It was insane. It was crazy.
Yeah, we were nuts. It was an adventure.
It always is.
Yeah, always. So we left for Belize September with the intention. We had a yard sale. We sold everything that we owned.
We sold enough of our household goods, and we actually had people donate stuff too. This was a huge yard sale. It was amazing. But it was enough money to buy air passage from LAX to Belize City, and we didn't take a bus down.
No, we took the
little plane hoppers. All of the airfare travel that we needed, and for all 5 of us, because we had to buy a ticket for Evie too. She had to have her own ticket,
and it was exactly how much money we needed for that.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that's exactly right.
Sold all of our stuff.
Yep, sold all of our stuff. We were planning on being there forever. We did get a round trip ticket so that we could come back for Christmas.
We were thinking we were going to do fundraising, visit family, be home for the holidays.
And then go back.
Yeah.
While we were home, the Lord impressed on both of our hearts, like, so strongly that God did what He wanted to do for us in Belize, and that that He has something for us.
Something else.
And we didn't know what that was.
That was really, really hard. That was one of those moments where we're like, God,
are
you sure? Because we did this big thing. Remember that time we moved to Belize? And knowing that He sent us there, like 100% knew we were supposed to be there.
Yep.
There was no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. We were there for the time that we were there for a reason. Yeah. And we know exactly why. But... So we got connected. Well, no. So we were there for 3 months. We came home and God said to stay. So we stayed, and that was a difficult conversation with my dad to be like, "Hey, we're not going back, and
because we were staying with his parents.
We're gonna stay with you."
With all of our kids.
Because I had just looked for a job for a year before that, a ministry job for a year, and there was no luck. And we go to Belize. We come back after 3 months, and after Christmas, after the holidays, I start looking, and a week goes through, and I'm applying at places, and In the second week of me looking, the first day of the second week, I call Shelter Cove, and I get a call back that day. I had an interview the next day. The next day, I interviewed with our lead pastor and the executive pastor, and then a couple weeks later, inside of a month of my first interview, I was living in Modesto.
Yeah, it was wild.
It was so quick.
Right before Valentine's Day, we moved up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was just so obvious that God had shut the door to going back to Belize and flew the door wide open to Shelter Cove.
Yeah.
Like, there was, and we prayed for that.
Mm-hmm.
When we prayed and said, like, Lord, show us what we need it to be more than clear. We need it to be without a shadow of a doubt, no guesswork, no wondering, like, make it as clear as you can. And he was like, okay,
here you go.
You got it.
and it was just so simple and easy, and it's the right, like, I love Shelter Cove.
And that was 4 years ago in February.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Already. Can you believe that? 4 years.
Nuts. So, 12 years. I waited 12 years from the time that God had called me to be a youth pastor into the time that that promise was fulfilled. And there were so many different times in my life where I was just like, what is happening? What are you doing? Like, God, why am I in the Air Force? Why am I working at a vending machine company? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Yeah. And the whole time God is like, just wait.
For you, and especially for you to be saying, like, Lord, I'm willing.
Yeah.
Like, here I am.
Like,
I want to do ministry. It felt, I think it was really frustrating for you, for him to be like, no, not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Like, what are you waiting for, Lord?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think, and ministry has gone well for me over the past several years. I've had some wonderful chances to meet some great people, and I've really loved what I've been doing, and I don't know if 19-year-old David would have handled what I have now in the same way.
You definitely not.
No.
Think about how much growing you've done since then.
Yeah.
You know, like, every step that we've taken and every adventure that we've gone on and every moment, every hard moment and every fun moment and happy and whatever, has all led us
here
to be the people that we are, with the family that we have, in the position that we are in ministry and in life, and you know,
every step of the way. And even since we've been here, we had one more miscarriage, Ezekiel. That one was harder for you than it was for me. I think our roles were a little bit reversed, or actually your role. You had more investment with God. You were more invested in God. Like we
was like this.
You were really, really close. And that's where I was, you know, with our first one. And so you got let down, similar to the way that I was let down.
I was shook.
Yeah.
Like I'd never have been before.
Yeah.
I've been through a lot in my life, different circumstances and hurts and things, and I have never, ever felt like that with God before.
Yeah.
Ever. That was a shock.
Yeah.
Like, totally out of left field.
Yeah. So we lost Ezekiel, and that was hard, and we'll talk through more of that too. But we also, shortly after that, we had Jeremiah, who's our wonderful, beautiful little baby boy. And
he's amazing.
He is. I'm just blown away at God's faithfulness, at his goodness for our story. And I think this might be the first time that you and I have ever sat down and like talked through the whole thing.
Beginning to now.
From beginning to now, from our marriage until now.
Yeah. And I'm sure we missed stuff. And
oh, yeah.
There's so much. But that's really just like grazing over the surface of it all, I think.
But our hope and our prayer for this is that you guys would see through all of it that God is faithful, and that he never, even in the moments when we were walking away from him, and even in the moments where we just chose to not pursue a relationship with him,
to just do whatever the heck we wanted.
Yeah, he was still right there.
Not saying that that's what you should do.
No. But in those moments, he still showed us grace.
Yeah.
And he showed us grace by not just completely abandoning us and letting us, he protected us through all of it.
Well, I think that's one of the most amazing things about God is he's not like a human. He's not going to be like, oh my gosh, you guys, again, are you serious? Oh, I'm so done with you.
Well, he wandered with the Israelites, right? Mm-hmm. Whew, come on.
That blows my mind, though. Like, for real. We were just talking about this the other day.
For 40 years.
For 40 years, he put himself in the literally in the middle of their camp, saying, like, you know what? You're going to wander around in the desert, and that is your punishment, but I'm going to be with you for every moment of it. Yep. He didn't have to do that. Nope. Time goes by like that for him.
Yep.
He could have been like, okay, I'll be back in 40 years. Have fun. Mm-hmm. Like, he chose to purposefully, like, he didn't work because, you know, I mean, well, he worked, but
yeah, you
know what I'm saying? Like, he worked it out so that, like, he could be there with them.
Yep. It's beautiful.
Why?
Because he loves us.
But why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? I mean, because from the very beginning when he told Abram at the time, you know, like, your descendants are going to be mine.
Yeah.
You're mine. You're my people. I'm making you into my people. You know? Like, he knew every time his people were going to slap him in the face and forget him.
Yep.
You know? And he still chose them.
Yeah.
And chooses them still.
Yep. Chooses
us. You know?
It's unreal.
It's crazy. Like,
it's why he's so good. It's why he's so beautiful. And it's why we should love him. It's why we should serve him.
Absolutely.
Guys, that's our story. We'll dive in deeper on each of these little subjects and stories, and hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.
High five.
Bye, guys.
Bye.